Buongiorno a tutti, siamo qui da InfoSecurity 2025 e sono qui allo stand di SpyCloud, uno dei prodotti che risiede all'interno del portafoglio di .Force. Sono qui con Mandeep Sandhu, che è un Senior Analyst Investigator, quindi uno di quelli che mette veramente i puntini sulle i e si spinge a fondo all'interno delle analisi, ma gli chiedo adesso che cosa fa SpyCloud, di che cosa si occupa e quali sono le prossime sfide nel futuro per SpyCloud e il corretto posizionamento adesso. So Mandeep, what is SpyCloud about, what is doing now, and what is the next chapter, what is the next initiative?
Definitely. Well, SpyCloud has always been in the area of recapturing stolen data. And those type of stolen data usually is from the likes of a third-party breach, maybe a system infection as well, but also the phishing attempts and the actual victims of a phish, where that type of data has been leaked and now are in the hands of the criminals today. So for organizations to now understand what their employee exposure is, or even their customer exposure, and how that could be absolutely the consumers, and how that's linked to some sort of targeted attack or some fraudulent attack against a particular organization.
Okay, wonderful. But this is about now. What about the past? What about all the information that I gave to the internet in my 30 plus years of work, of career?
Absolutely. So, and we definitely are seeing this a lot more, especially with some of the recent attacks you may see in the public today. When there's a analysis on how the attack actually happened, criminals, threat actors today are taking older data, related data. It could be a previous job of an individual. It could be something that's more personally linked to that individual. It could be a relative and that level of exposure. And they are putting that data together. They're running that link analysis, then identify how are they going to target a particular individual. And it does not just have to be credentials, but it could be pulling all that data together and maybe even using that for socially engineering an individual within an organization.
So you can see what's going on now about my identity, but what it used to be, my previous jobs, my previous home addresses, my previous phone numbers, link it all together. And this is the amount of data that also bad guys are using to attack companies to rebuild my identity. Am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is what we are calling holistic identity. Being able to understand not just a single exposure that's linked to a particular organization's, let's say, their email account, but being able to understand that individual, that employee's previous job, other associated data that will enable a organization to now say, okay, these are the levels of protection I need to apply. These are the levels of education I need to apply to all my employees to make sure they do not become a victim of a certain type of attack or specific attack.
So a lot of data, a lot of intelligence, a lot of depth going around in investigation. Talking about numbers, I hear that we are 8 billion people on this planet, and in the data lake of SpyCloud there are like 34 billion accounts recaptured, so 4 times as much the world's population. Is that huge? Is that correct?
It's not abnormal to see that. It's increasing every day. The different types of data that we are collecting, including the phishing data, and the actual, not even just about the actual victims that have been phished, but also the data around who's on the target list from a phishing campaign. Even that as information is now becoming resourceful for organizations to apply additional security controls and measures and monitoring in place. You're absolutely right. The data is in billions, in the high volumes of billions, and it's increasing daily. We're seeing more and more breaches occurring. You see them in the public news, more breaches. The more organizations get breached, the more data volumes are increasing, and it gives the more opportunities for these threat actors to then execute their attacks with data that's already been stolen as well.
You're doing a terrific job. Well, thank you, Mandeep. I wish you have a nice exhibition, and if you want to know more about your accounts, how to protect your accounts, how to protect your employees, your consumers, here now, where they are now, and where they were in the past, to get the same or more knowledge than the hackers do, just talk to .Force and SpyCloud. See you to the next video. Ciao.